Hi everyone. In terms of my checking word today, I still find some people draw father and son relationship. Actually, this building should be drawn by brother relationship. The software has an update that all father and son relationship buildings will be shown as blue. So it will be very easy for checker to find out. Okay, let us go through these buildings and see how we use our current tools to draw brother relationship, and it definitely will much quicker than use father and son relationship. Okay, so for this building first, the people draw the small tall structures first and then draw a bigger one at the bottom, right? And then I just delete it and redraw it. So I will show you the two ways to draw this. So first was of one, it's super easy that we just need to draw the outline, okay? Because we don't see the sidewall of this building, so we don't need to drag sidewall, right? And then for each component, we just need to cut, right? So easy, we just need to cut. And then the cutting tool will guarantee that you are drawing brother relationship, okay? The cutting tool will guarantee that the cutting line is the share line that will trigger the brother relationship new function, okay? So it will be super easy for you to do some adjustment in the future. For example, if you want to drag sidewall, you can easy to do that, and the sidewall will be dragged automatically, like all together, right? And also, if you want to adjust the height, then you can also do that. So for example, we have some height here, but you want to adjust, then you can also do that easily, right? Because you use the cutting tool, so the software will still trigger the brother relationship new functions for you. So it will be very easy for you to do the editing in the future, okay? So now we don't see obvious layer sidewall, then we don't need to drag the sidewall. And finally, just remember to group, okay? And then for this one, we can use another way, that is we can draw them component by component, which means we can draw brothers and by brother, right? For example, like this, we just need to make sure we snap to your brother, right? Just make sure you snap to your brother. Don't draw the gap, right? Like this. Just make sure you snap. And then the same thing, that's so easy, and you can draw component by component and then group. Also, in this way, the software will still trigger the brother's relationship function. So, for example, I want to drag the sidewall, then all of the brother sidewall will be dragged together, right? That means the software consider it as a brother relationship. And then we just group, okay? So actually both ways are very easy for you to draw perfect results. And also it helps you to trigger the brother functions. Actually it will be much quicker than you to draw the father relationship, okay? And now you can see that that's the same thing. Actually, we can just, you see, actually we just need to draw the outline and then cut. But for this building, I think maybe one layer is still fine, okay? One layer is still fine. For this one, the same thing. If you, as these people, you draw a father relationship, you see that's so complicated, and it's very hard for you to fix any of the component or any of the layer you want. You need to redraw it. It's so complicated and hard to locate the issue. So we must draw a brother relationship for this one, okay? Now we can start from this part, right? And then we will start the next part. So we can use the trace tool here, right? Trace the common line, because you don't see the sidewall. So for the first brother, you don't need to drag the sidewall, and then just trace. So maybe we can trace to here, and then draw this layer. Okay, And then we can draw other brothers, right? So again, you can choose to snap the lines one by yourself, or you can use the trace tool. Okay, both way is fine, but make sure just draw brother relationship. Okay, so when we have the no sidewall, okay, then we can use both like normal tool to draw the shear line, or use the trace tool. But if we have the sidewall, then you must use the trace tool to help you to drag the sidewall automatically. So for example, for this building, if I want to use the trace tool, then it will help you to drag the sidewall to the bottom automatically. You see, it has a sidewall automatically. But if you just use the normal drawing tool and trace the common line by yourself, then you see that the software won't help you to drag to the bottom. Okay, so for the building, you can see the sidewall. Then make sure you use the trace tool. Okay, the only way is use the trace tool. But for building like this without the sidewall, and then you don't need to like need a software to help you to drag the sidewall automatically, then you can use the normal tool to draw it. Like this, I can use the normal tool, right, to draw this part, right? Or I can use the triangle tool to draw this part, right? And I can also use the E tool, this one, to draw the box, right? So when there's no sidewall, actually you can choose like so many ways to draw it, as long as you can snap to your brother, right? Snap to your brother outline perfectly, then you can choose any way. And then finally just group them. Okay, now I want to show you another way. Also, it's very easy. So you can just draw one, right? Okay, I will delete this one as well. So for this one, you don't see any sidewall. So, but you can also see that it has many different components, right? So for this one, you can just very easy, just draw the entire outline all together. Okay, and then cut. Okay, and then cut. So actually it will have the same result. Okay, it will have the same result. Okay, and then merge. So both way you draw correct brother relationship. Okay, both way. You can draw one and then cut. Or you can draw them just one component by one component. All fine, okay, all fine, as long as you draw brother relationship. Now let's go to the another example for such buildings. We call it a long building, and we also can call it a ring-shaped building. So the buildings like to have a ring, right? It has the similar of the ring. So the buildings are like a cavity in the middle sometimes. Actually, for this kind of building, actually they are combined with many different buildings. So for these people, when I click, you can see that he merged all buildings together. It's wrong, okay? It's wrong. Actually, it has many different buildings, okay? It has many different buildings. When we need to merge, when we need to group, we need to group the buildings with we just need to group those components for one single building, okay? So like the example, this is just one building, but different component. Then after we draw the component, then we group them, right? Same for this one. Actually, it is just one building, but different components. Then we group them. But for this one, actually, they are many different buildings. Okay, there are many different buildings, so you cannot group different buildings into one. That's wrong. Okay, so I will teach you how to cut buildings like this and how to group them. So for such buildings, actually sometimes it is very ambiguous. You don't know where to cut and how to group, but just follow the rules that you need to find obvious edges. That's the clues for you, or that's the evidence for you to cut, okay? And also, for such building, it is super easy to draw by brother relationship than by father and son, right? Actually, they are like small components, and then you can just draw one and then cut, right? That will be much more easier than like these people, they draw like father and son. Then you need to draw one layer and then another bigger layer, another even bigger layer, one and one again. So that will be so complicated and easy make mistakes. Why choose to use stupid way to waste your own time, right? Why not draw quick, draw perfect, and earn more money? So I believe that everybody want to like do a faster and more accurate way. So for such building, first of all, you cannot see any sidewall, right? Then that's a good sign, right? That's a good sign for you, because that means the building will be much easier for you to draw. So we can just draw one, okay? We can just draw one as a whole. So now I will just merge this building into one, okay? I will just merge it. Okay, just assume that I just draw the this building as one, and then we need to cut. So for cutting, we need to base on the visible lines and different colors of the building, okay? And also we can look at the fences area. So where is the fences? You can see that here is a fence, right? Here is a fence, and also here might be another fence here. So probably we can cut one here. You can see that these are two different rooftop type, right? I have a very obvious edge here. We can cut this. So this is one small building. And also we can cut here, right? So for the building in this block, in this yard, okay, so this is one building and this is a small one. We don't need to group, okay? And for here is a fence. You can feel that. Here is a fence. So these two buildings might be for two different family, right? And then we can cut. So for now, you can see maybe here is a component. We can draw it as brother. It's fine. You just cut one in the middle. And then here as well, don't draw the shadow, okay? And then we can also cut one here. So now I think that's pretty much. You don't need to cut too much, okay? Just cut a very obvious line. You can check the shadow. It's a very good sign for you. It's a very good evidence to show you there is a different component, okay? So now you can see that actually these buildings are cut into different components, but they are one building. So we can group them, okay? So this is one building, and this is one building. This is another small building. So based on this rule, we can cut from the, I think this is a fence. So probably here is the edge of two families. So I will just cut here, right? And for this family, maybe these are two components, right? They are same one building, but different component. So I probably can cut here. I feel that they have different height, right? And this one, actually the edge is not obvious. It's ambiguous. It has not very significant shadow there. That means they have no different height, okay? No different height. So for the rooftop, if you think they have no different height, then why not cut it, right? Why not cut it? So don't cut it. So this building actually just has two components, and we can group these two components, okay? Okay, so here, this is the last building. So it has a component we can cut here, right? And also maybe a cut here. And for such a ring shape, okay, it's a completely ring shape. We need to do 2 cuts to make it a real cut, okay? So we can do like that. So this building actually cut into 2 components, okay? It has 2 layers. You can feel that. This layer is higher and this layer is lower, right? So if you don't do the 2 cut, you can see that if you just cut this one, the software won't allow you to do so, because actually if you just do 1 cut here, actually this feature is still 1 feature, okay? It's just like a the head and the end, they are just touch each other, right? So it's just still 1 feature, so actually it will not allow you to do so. So usually we need to cut for 2 cuts to make this 1 feature into 2 components, okay? So we cut like this and then group. So you can see that actually here we might have 4 families, right? It would be very clear and very reasonable to cut them and also group them, their components, right? Okay, so also for this building as well, can merge them first. So don't just strange angle like that, okay? And now actually I think it's maybe it's 2 buildings maybe, or maybe 1 building. You can just cut here, right? This is 1 component for sure, and maybe here is a little bit top layer. For such in the middle top layer, we can draw father and son, okay? We can draw father and son only for this style structure. And also for here we can do another cut, and for here it's fine. I think that the height is the same height, so I will not cut it, and I will group them together, right? That's super easy. You can see that when I do the cutting for such long building, actually it's very easy. So we just need to draw them as 1, right? Okay, I will show you again for this one. We'll draw them just as 1. Yeah, let me just do a quick fix of this hole. That's not good. Okay, like this. Actually, you can see the shape. Definitely it's not 1 building, right? It's several buildings. So for here, we can do a cut, right? And for here, another cut. Cut into 2 components because it has 2 different heights, right? And maybe for here, it's another cut. So actually these 3 components should be 1 building, right? The shape is more reasonable. And also we can feel that here is the fence area, okay? The fence area. So based on the knowledge, then we can cut more for here, and also cut this layer, right? So then these are 2 components for this building, so we can group this building. And then here, for sure, another cut. Also, here has a higher structure maybe, so we cut here and group these 2. For this one, I think this one again is a ring shape, but I think it's just 1 building, right? So probably I will just cut from here to here. So here is a higher layer and here is a lower layer, okay? And then group. So this result will be much more better. Then when we deliver to client, then the client will know that this is 1 building, this is another building, this is another building, right? They won't see that all these buildings will be labeled as just 1 building. That will be like ridiculous and funny, right? That's not reasonable at all. So don't do that, okay? Don't group the long building all the way to 1, okay? We just need to like do some very reasonable rough cutting and group the building like for the reasonable in a reasonable way, okay? So again, we can do the cutting when you can check the shadow, okay, to know that they have different height, different layer, and also check the fence, right? The fence here, to know that where might be the reasonable edge of different families, right? And then when you determine which family are for which, and then you can try to cut the components, but just need to cut the very obvious reasonable components. You don't need to do too much cutting, okay? Don't do over cutting. Just cut an obvious line, okay? Also need to cut into a reasonable shape. So that's like the rule of the cutting of such long shape and ring shape buildings. I will show you more example like this. You can see that this building so big, so long are grouped into one. Actually, do you think it's reasonable? It's only just one building or just one family or just one, what else? The unit definitely is not just one. So we cannot group them all together. It's wrong, okay? So I will show you how to do that. So I will just merge them. Okay, so now it's just only one feature. So basically for such building, the drawing method is you need to draw them as one and then cut. Okay, it will be the most quickest way to do so. After cutting, all components become brother relationship, right? And then it will be much easy for you to do some height adjusting or something else. So yeah, so let's just start. So for this one, you will need to find the most obvious lines, okay? So first of all, after you after you just analyze the image, then you can see some very obvious shadows line here. For example, here, definitely, here we need to do a cut, okay? So first of all, do the main cut first, okay? And also here, you can do the obvious cut for here, right? And then after that, you can find the cutting line for some obvious different layers. For example, like this, we can cut based on the obvious shadows, right? And also here, we can feel that this building, these are two buildings, right? These are two buildings. We can cut here, right? So 1, 2, 3. These three buildings, we can define them now. And then also another cut here, right? And then here is the obvious line, right? So first of all, just cut the most obvious line first to just determine the buildings, okay? To determine the buildings. So this is another ring shape. You can see that it's like 8. It's like the number of 8, right? So if you want to cut the ring shape, we just need to really cut it, okay? Really cut it. So let me find a good place. Okay, so here I can find the obvious line. So I will start from here. Okay, I will find another obvious line for here, and then to cut here. Okay, now the ring now actually cut into 2 parts. And then I will also cut more because this is the obvious higher component, right? So I need to cut it. And here is the obvious lower component. I also need to cut it. Okay. And also maybe here, yeah, another layer, right? Another component for this. And also here, just a straight line. So just try to cut beautifully, okay? Beautifully. If you can just use one cut, then don't use more than one, okay? Don't cut like the exact shape or any other strange shape. And don't cut small strange angles. We don't like that, okay? That's not reasonable. Okay, for here, I think that's weird. The shape weird here. So probably you can see that we can use the repair tool to just repair the shape. Yeah, repair the shape like that. Okay, and then cut one more here. So always when you're cutting, always try to find the vertex, okay? Try to find the vertex. So don't cut like this, okay? I'll show you. Don't cut like this. Okay, many people will cut very strange, ugly, small angles, okay? Don't cut like this. Just try to cut by the vertex. Okay, it's totally fine. Like the difference is just just 2 or 3 pixels. So actually, ignore those small, tiny errors or difference. Okay, that's not mistakes. That's not mistakes. We want to see very beautiful result. Okay, so for this again, like this is another small ring, right? There's a hole there, so we just need to cut like 2 lines. This line, cut 2 lines to make it really be cut. Okay, and also here is another cut. Okay, so now we can see that for this part we're almost done. Also cut here, and here is taller, right? This small part, cut here, right? Okay, so for this area we're almost done, and we can figure out that it might have 3 or 4 buildings, right? For this part, I think it's one building because the shape is very simple, beautiful shape, right? I will just group like this. And for this one, maybe this will be another one. And for this one, I think these components will be the same one building. Okay, so I will group this block, okay, this block into 3 buildings. So actually this I can take as individual because it's a complete shape individual building. This one also can be individual. So actually the grouping, you need to be very reasonable. It's not very, it's not very strict, but you just need to feel like, okay, this is a complete building, okay, complete building. And this one is also a complete building. It's fine. Then just reasonable, okay, and don't group those buildings and into a very strange shape. Okay, for example, like this taller, like this small one, this taller component, obviously it should be grouped like into this building, right? It will be a complete L shape, right? If you group it into this building, and then it will look very weird for both this one and also this one. You can see if I group the buildings into this one, then this building will become like this, right? A very small external part, right? And also this building will become like this shape. That's so weird, right? Why not just have very clear, sharp edge of 2 different buildings, right? So for sure, this part we should combine to this building, right? And then also we can continue for the rest part. We'll cut here. For the small one, I think this is too small. I will ignore that. I will not cut it. And then we go to this side. Yeah, this is also a ring shape, right? So I will find a good place to cut it. So probably we can cut here. Oops. Okay, let's see. I need to do like that. Let me check how should I cut it. Okay. Okay, I see. Yeah, for such one it's a little bit complicated. I need to cut for two lines. Yeah, right. You can see that it will be into two components, and then for this part, what else I can cut? I can't find a better place to cut. I think like these buildings are all built together, right? So I will just leave there. Okay, I will just leave there. I think it's a very complete building. You can check from the rooftop style. You cannot find a good where to cut. So I will just leave there. Okay, and this one, the same thing. For this one, maybe more cutting because it has different height, right? And for this one, we can just use the normal boxes to draw the father relationship is fine. So okay, so for these small parts, there should be one building, and I will group as one, and this one will be another one also, and this one will be another one. Okay, so actually for this building, you can group by this, like this, right? It's reasonable. Or if you can group by this, it's also fine. It looks not bad, right? Not bad. So for this situation, it can be very ambiguous, and any reasonable grouping is fine. Okay, and then for this building, yeah, for sure we can do more cut, right? Obviously they have different layers. I think I will cut like this, or maybe I will just draw the this layer individually, like by father relationship, right? It's fine. But you can see that I only draw father and son relationship for those features just right in the middle of the building, right? It will be easier. But for any other parts, I would just do the cutting, right? Cut to the brother relationship. Then this one for sure is a complete building, and this one is a complete building. This one is another complete building, but I will do a cut here. Obviously, they have different height, right? And then just merge this, group this one. Okay, we just need to handle this part. Again, try to cut from the obvious edge. So to be honest, this original guy draw a very good outline of the entire block. It's very good. So I don't need to do any fix of the outline of the error. So the outline actually is very good. We just need to do very good cutting. Okay, so for this ring shape, we need to cut more. Oh, okay, it has two rings here. So let me see. Maybe I will do a cut here. I will do a cut here, and then be careful, don't cut other parts, and always find the vertex to cut, right? Now it's still not finished because we still need to cut this ring here. Always find the vertex, okay? Always start from the vertex. If you start from the other side, then you will cut into strange shape, okay? Just go to the vertex. Okay, you can see that I cut it into two parts, and then do more smaller cutting. Okay, like this, it will be super easy. Okay, it'll be super easy. And for this one, also you can do a cut, right? It's also fine to do a cut to draw the component, or you can just add a small box in the top. It's fine. Okay, then I will group this one as one building, right? And I will leave this one as one building alone, and also these two I will leave it alone. And yeah, and this building, maybe do one more cut here, and also for here I will do a cut here, and then I believe that this is one building, right? But we still have different components, then we can cut. So I will just group these together. That's fine. And for here, also I will probably cut from here. Yeah, and I think this will be Okay, and maybe here is another. Okay, will be. I will cut like this. And now actually the shape is weird for this one. Maybe I think they have some gap between here because you can see the very big shadow. Maybe there's a, so I will just do a repair of this component. Okay, it might be look like this. So, and then later you can group them or you can leave it. I think it's fine. It's not a big deal. And then maybe one more card here and one more card here. Yeah, I think it's done. Then you can take it as individual buildings because their shape, you can see the rooftop style, right? You can see the complete ridge on the rooftop, right? So maybe you can cut more here because you see there are two different rooftops. The ridge is like this and the ridge is like this, right? But there should be one building. I can group them. So yeah, then we finish. So you can see that we just cut it very quickly and actually it's very perfect. And then actually we will group the buildings which are very reasonable, right? And the shape are very perfect and it looks very neat, right? So for such like long building or ring shaped building, we need to draw like this, okay? Draw as one, then cut, and then group the components which are which should be one same building, okay? So based on these examples, you might feel that using the draw one and then cut technique will be super easy for you to draw those buildings, even though they are multi-layer, right? Even though they are multi-layer, but we still can use the draw one and then cut technique to draw those different layers into different components, and then we group them. So it will be much more easy to draw it, much more easy than the father and son relationship. And it will trace you all around and the shape will become very complicated, and once you want to fix it will be super hard. Now for this, if you really want to fix for some layer, you can just fix like for that component, right? For just one single component, and then you will not influence other component, right? Because it's not like one layer by one layer by one layer, right? So you can just easy for you to fix if you have any issues there. So make sure you use this way to draw the building for such long and ring-shaped buildings, okay? So actually this way can be used for draw the ring-shaped building, which you can see the height, okay? Which you can see the height. So that's the advantage of drawing by brother relationship. Then when you see there's a height here, then you can just jack the sidewall all together, right? It will be super easy, okay? It will be super easy. If you draw by father and son relationship, then it will be very it will be more complicated, okay? It will be more complicated. So even if you see the sidewall, then you can still use the way to draw it, or you can draw it one component by one component, and then adjust the height, okay? And then adjust the height between each component, right? So for example, like this, you can just drag one to the bottom, right? And then if you feel like which like any layer that's not reasonable, then you can switch like you can shift the common lines and then just adjust the height, and but still make sure they have the same bottom area, right? So for such awesome functions will not apply, okay? Will not apply to the father and son relationship. So always use brother relationship to draw the building like this. So for today's task, for any of the tasks which are still draw father and son, then we'll push back again. Okay, then we'll push back again. Hope this time you can fix them all and avoid it in the future. If you still have the errors, okay, for tomorrow's task, if I still see the errors for tomorrow's task, then I'm so sorry. I need to reset all of your tasks because I think that maybe you really don't understand the broader relationship and you need to retrain. Yep, finally, again, I want to highlight that. So the father relationship will help you draw much quicker actually and help you to avoid a lot of mistake. So just try to change your habit a little bit, okay? Try to adjust to the new tools and you will feel that in the future your speed, your efficiency will be increased a lot and then you can earn a lot, okay? You can earn a lot. Don't be insist on your old way to draw the multi-layers. It will make you fall behind, okay? It will make you fall behind of other labelers, okay? So just try to adjust to the new tools and I believe that you will earn higher hourly rate than before. Okay, thank you for watching.